Captain Strange?
Time to get on the old psych train to Braintown!
Yay!
Ah, I knew you'd like that. I got a few new finds, but I'm still dusting off Stash-O-Rama from the record vaults on Weremont 6. You know, I'm kind of blown away by some of the not-so-good choices I've made. It ain't that all this stuff doesn't fit the moniker of psych, garage, rock, or whatever. It's just that some of these groovifications ain't my sure cube of delight. Whew. You see, I'm not a completist. I just sequester these LPs because I'm a player. No, not that kind of player. Well, maybe about 400 years ago when I was a young astronaut. But a real space jockey of the turntable style. Dig me? Class! 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 Okay, settle down now. Open your psych books to page 69, and there you'll find a band called Day Blindness. They're a crowd from San Mateo, California, which is a suburb south of San Francisco, in 1968. They were a three-piecer that should wind up on a brown acid comp LP at some point, with at least a couple of cuts from their only LP, which we will be playing shortly. How about maybe we should just hear a little something called Middle Class Lament. So, later, I will expect a single-space, 1,000-word essay on my desk when we're done. Dig me? That's a taste of a heavier nature, I'd say. Just where things were heading in 68, 69, you know? They did the usual gigging around the San Francisco area, and hey, dig this, they even got to open for Sly and the Family Stone locally, and then they went on tour with them. Hot shot, baby! That's a cool gig. My thing about it is, let's see, well, first of all, we should look at the cover. This is the disc. It's kind of, I don't know. It kind of fits like the 8th grade class I'm teaching right now. And then there's the backification. But what's really wacky is they got stacks of Marshalls, so they must have been killer loud. Alright, so let's talk about these guys a little bit. My opinion is, after listening through the record, is I don't think they come across as good as they probably did live. And I never saw these cats. In fact, I can't really even find them on a poster or anything from the Fillmore or the Avalon at all. So they must have been really low-key. But they did gig around town a lot. And so be that as it may, it's still a pretty fair studio album. But the best cut is this Doorish, and I mean like as in Jim Morrison. It's kind of a Doors kind of a tune called Holy Land. And that has a boss guitar running wild through it, man. I mean, phew, hair on fire, pants down around your ankles, trying to get away from the cops, that kind of thing. It's a decent LP, I'd say, but not really necessary. Okay, not really. Let's see. Maybe we should just rev up the afterburners a little bit more and juice up the game a bit here, as they say. This band we're going to talk about, they sprung from the Leaves. Now, you remember the Leaves, that smasher group from LA in '66, where they did their killer version of Hey Joe. And, I mean, that is the 45 to get from that band. I mean, that's it. Anyway, one of the guitarists, his name was Bob Arlen. And when the band kind of disintegrated a little bit and broke around, he left them in '67 and formed a three-piece power trio called The Hook. It's a fuzzed out slamming combo, babies. I mean, really, they're loud and in your face. So let's dig this cut called You Know I Do. So gird your mind and I'll unleash some maxed out mayhem right now. You know I do. You're the one. Make my dreams come true. My dreams come true. My dreams come true. Yeah. I found me a good cat love. Never puts me all of these sheets above me. I know that we'll always be together, I don't know what, it always seems to trip my trigger. Woo! Now, how far away could you get from those garage boys, the Leaves, with this band? So let's look at the cover here. There we goes. Interesting enough, I'd say. There's the fronts, and the back is a little bit more in the psychedelic range for me. I kind of like all that weirdness photography there. It's a little ratty. It's an original pressing, but like I always say, it's what's inside that matters the most. Okay, so let's talk about these cats a little bit. Now, seriously, my noggin is swimming in all that fuzzification that is embedded in those gurus, baby. This record is best played loud, and I mean L-U-O-D-E. Turn it up. Anyway, it's a solid LP all the way through. No doubt, indeed.
Well, which way to the psych trip, Captain?
I was waiting for that question all along. Well, my sweet stargazers, here it comes. We, as a common good, shall now feel the flavor and intensity of a band called Ivory. Woo! As the tripsical solar winds would have it, there were these two cats. A guy named Kim. No, not Kim. His name was Ken. Ken Thomure. I don't know. You're gonna have to look it up because you know me and names. I ain't so good. Just don't call me late for supper. And a guy named Mike McCauley. Now they shot out of, dig this, Boron, California. Woohoo! Oh, all right, that's a 60 scientific chemical scene out in the desert. I mean, way out in the desert. Miss Nancy and I fly over Boron every time we head down the Joshua Tree Way. I mean, we're talking middle of nowheres, baby. Nothing, not even a streetlight. But you know, music just knows no boundaries. It just makes its way into your head wherever you exist. Dig that. I mean, dig that. So, we shall ingest a cut called Silver Rain. So, inhale deeply, and when your eyeballs stop clanging together, we will figure out our next move on the road. Is what's the deal here? Well, excuse me, I'm getting frogificated here. I'm, you know, it's the environment. Well, anyway, these two cats, they met this girl named Chris Crispin down in L.A. She was walking around, I don't know, down Sunset Strip, and Ken, who was a guitar player, and Mike, who was a keyboard player, they were doing some gigs, and then they went out and they heard this girl singing and going, hey! Woo! And I mean, once they heard her belt out a few tunes, they knew this was the way to go. You know, there's a Grace Slick comparison here, but not totally. This strobe songstress, if I might say, and I am going to, is she's a little bit more of a baritone and not as angelic as Grace, but you know what? She's still really powerful inside the delivery department, baby. Dig me? Okay. Now, I'm going to keep traveling along this little path a bit. We got to, before we go any further, I got to bring the record into the view here. Cool. This is a reprint. I don't even know if there's any original copies out there because they didn't do a massive amount. But it's an official release. It's not some funky put together. Front and back. Yeah, you know. What's cool is it's got a bitchin' insert that gives you all the lowdown. It's cool. Very cool. Very reasonable. So let's talk a little tiny bit more on that path that I was talking about, Grace. Now, Grace and Janice, you know, will always be the lightning rod for high, baby. And I mean high comparison. But I digress, as I normally will. The band did a truly underrelated LP, and it's a lost psych gem. I mean, for sure. Nice find, I'd say. It meanders around all over the place with the psych lyrics. Some of the tunes are pretty laid back. You know, it's a good one. It's a good one. I love listening to these strollers down the psych path. You know, they're just sort of bopping down the road and figuring it out. You know, as they go. So, one more, eh? I would say so. We're gonna do another one. Oh, come on now. You've been sailing through the grooves this long with me. Another spiral wind-up will do you some good. So, splish splash across the pond is Roger Ruskin Spear. Anybody know? I don't think you do unless you're really cool and tuned in. But that's okay, because he's pretty obscure. He was an escapee from the Bonzo Dog Band Asylum alumnus. Woo, man, that's a mouthful. Roger is a multi-instrumentalist. Ooh, that one's a hard one to get out. Too many syllables and consonants in that one. And guess what else he did? He was the robot-creating mad scientist from the Bonzos, because they had this really whacked-out stage show where they were doing antics, where they had, you know, it's like the Penguin on the TV with Monty Python. You know, stuff was blowing up and happening. It was cool. He tripped out of the gate in '72 with his first solo ditty called Electric Shocks. Now, so let's sit down for a plate of bangers and beans, and the song's called Mattress Man. And when you get home, I'll break out the trouser press and give you a crease you'll never forget.
Mattress man, I wanna be your mattress man. I wanna be your mattress man. I wanna be your mattress man. Move over, there's room for 2 or 3 or 4. A mattress man. Don't you know my baby's got a brand new way of walking on my mattress? My baby's got a brand new way of walking on my mattress. The mattress I wanna be. I wanna be your mattress man.
Well, up the down trench, and Bob's your uncle. Whew! Let's look at the record before we get too far skewered from center. This is it. Here's my man with some of his robots. Cool stuff. This is a live shot on the back when he was with the Bonzos. He's breaking something, I don't know. It's a gatefolder. It's cool stuff. You know, I want to tell you, Peter Banks, Chris Welch, Roy Hollingworth, I mean, these are all British people you got to know from the freak period. You know, that played on the record. It's cool stuff. It's really cool. So, anyway, this is a real slice of the old original Bonzo fan club. I mean, if you like the original Bonzos, you're going to like this record. Roger is a true purveyor of the Bonzo musical formula. A little sidebar here. In 1973, Neil Innes, another Bonzo escapee, created his own solo LP called, I think it was, How Sweet to Be an Idiot. And that's a totally more refined teaser for what Neil was going to do down the road with a band called The Ruddles. But that's another finger to pull. We'll talk about that some other time. So, surprised you ain't going nowhere quite yet, because I got one more to talk about. You gotta slam this platter down on the disco mat on our way out to the gangplank. We're talking first-class studio musician from New York by the moniker of Elliot Randall. So, let's make this one a quick one. Let's muscle up to the bar for a Boilermaker. And if you don't know what that is, that's a shooter dropped in a big old beer. And hear a song called Sour Flowers from his first solo LP called Randall's Island. Daddy, 8 to the bar. Now, if you don't know what that means, well, then you don't know much about big band music from the 40s, but that's okay. We're not on that trip today. This is a cooking cut. I mean, whew, I swear I heard this Master Blaster at some roadhouse on Route 66. I mean, really. Here's the cover. Now, it's kind of confusing to me. This is an original pressing, as you can tell. Yikes. It's pretty gnarly out. But once you open it up and see the Polydor label, I don't think so. I think this might have been a reissue of, because down here is a picture that I searched out, and that's the original cover. But who cares? Why am I even going there? Wasting time and air, Captain. Relax. Deep breathing will get you out. Okay, anyway. Enough of that one. So, you know that wonker guitar lead on the Steely Dan cut called Reeling in the Years? That's him. That's the man. You know, his career just spans an immense amount of studio work. He was asked to join Steely Dan, but he didn't want to get into it, and that was original Steely Dan. He did work with a band called C Train, which I know you heard of, San Francisco thing. Get this one, he even played on the Druids of Stonehenge's LP. Huh? You know, he was from New York. He played with Peter Frampton's Camel. He did some studio work for Tom Rush, folky kind of guy, he's cool. He's really cool. Check him out sometime. You know, etc., blah. Anyway, he goes on, and they just, you know, the guy was just multi-talented. He did a lot of solo LPs. This is a really, I don't know how to, it's a little bit of everything, but it's definitely rocking on top of everything else. It's a good one. Okay, this one, it's the Big Bang, baby, you know. Now, I've said enough. We're done. Okay. Crashing around in the background, because we're heading down the time. Whoa, what time is it? Whoa, look at the time. Okay, crashing around in the background today has been The Deer Hunter. And this is a soundtrack extraordinaire, as well as the movie. Really cool movie, very, you know, very, very realistic, I have to say. I'll tell you all about the steel mill thing and how I relate to that at some point down the road, but this is all cool stuff. John Williams did a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Great movie anyway. Robert De Niro, man, can't beat him. So, you know, here's a little tidbit. Do you know how many Slovak weddings I've been to and heard those raving tunes on the first side while I was noshing down pierogies? Baby, let me tell you. Woo! Been to a bunch of them. Anyway, top stuff this is. Top stuff. So, let knowledge, peace, and love reside in your heart, at least until we get together again. But try to do it every day, all the time, even if your captain ain't there for you. Just remember, I'm always there for you. Feel free to contact me anytime you like. I got that email stuff going on. So, till the twain shall meet, remember, we are, and always will be, forever, all one.